Don't everybody come at me at once.
I want to thank everybody for showing up. I'm impressed because I'm looking at you guys right now, and there's a good portion of the audience that feels like I do. I can tell. Hey buddy, how you doing?
Good. Are they like Cylons?
Are they like Cylons?
Yeah, because they get their mind wiped, so...
The dolls?
Yeah.
That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't think so, though. I think they're actually human.
Okay.
But you know, there's many people who probably would argue that the Cylons are very human-like, or at least have souls, even though they're in many ways designed by robots, or they are part robotic or metal or what have you. But that's a good question.
Thank you.
Okay, besides being hot, how does it work? What's it like to work with Liza?
Oh, I thought he meant he was
Stressful, man. She's so hot I can't focus. I don't know if you guys heard at Comic-Con, but I was talking about one of the first days that I worked with Eliza and Joss. And it's a big deal, man. I've been doing this for a while. You know, I like to consider myself a professional, but you still get some anxiety and a little bit of nerves. You know, you're working on a new show with the likes of Joss Whedon. It's the first day. It's a big deal. I'm very excited. And you know, Joss and Eliza are having a great time. They're hanging out and they're talking lots, and it's a big scene. But we did a couple takes. And literally, it was like one of my first lines was, so where did you first hear about the Dollhouse? And one of the takes I said, I think it was the second take in, I was like, so where did you first hear about the Wallhouse? And cut! As soon as I said it, I'm like, oh. Did I just say that? Yeah, I did. Just like, I could have swore you said Wallhouse. Make me a t-shirt, man. I know I'm going to get ribbed about this a lot, and I did. And I have.
And you will. For the benefit of those in the audience who aren't really plugged into everything that Joss does, can you describe the show and describe your role in the show for everybody?
Yeah, I'm hoping to do a terrible job at it, but the premise is really unique. I've heard it equated to, for those of you who, and I know there's nobody in the room like this, but for those who don't really have an imagination for it, is the technology involved in the show, or the idea behind it, is very similar to if you've seen The Manchurian Candidate or Born Identity. It has to do with mind wiping, and a company that caters to the uber rich, those who have the money, possibly government funded, who knows? We don't know the connection, how deep it goes. But a company that wipes its agents, these actives, as they're called, or dolls, who've willingly signed on to be dolls for a 5-year period or whatever it is, and hopefully and eventually get a whole bunch of money for doing it. But they have their personalities wiped, and they can be imprinted with new personalities. And we're talking everything from language and you know, specialty skills, everything. When they're not imprinted with a new personality and on a job, they're in an almost childlike state at the Dollhouse, which is really interesting. And I played the character Paul Ballard, who was originally Paul Smith. I like Paul Ballard a little bit better. And I'm the FBI agent who's on the case. And yeah, I mean, it's really interesting where Paul's been taken so far, and you guys gotta understand, I mean, I'm gonna do my best to talk about the show a lot, but we're really like 3 episodes in. I'm only about three weeks into filming. But Paul's Paul's very much holding onto his job by a shoestring. I think his ambition and his drive and the fact that he's very much a self-righteous character, and he rushes in sometimes, and it's gotten him into trouble. So he's not in the best position with the bureau and his superiors and what have you. But he's been given this case, and he takes it very seriously. So he's somewhat obsessed with it from the get-go.
You just said you're only 3 episodes in, but can you give us any hints about any guest stars that are upcoming, especially actors that have worked with Mr. Whedon before?
I can't. I wish I was privy to that, but I'm not. But I mean, you know, most of the people in this room are Whedon fans. And you know that Joss is really faithful to the actors he's worked with, especially ones he really enjoys working with. And I'm sure you can probably take some pretty good guesses about who's going to guest on the show. I really don't know, though. You know, I've heard him talk in the future. I'll tell you this: there's some incredible roles coming up. So there's going to be some good opportunities for very, very capable actors to do some interesting roles on the series. But yeah, I'm not privy to that, so sorry.
Good morning. How are you? It's good to see you. And
I'm horrible.
well,
How are you?
Thanks for coming. I got a couple of questions that are kind of intertwined. First, I wanted to see if you could placate any rumors about Fox already demanding reshoots about dissatisfied audiences or previews, and then also why Joss Whedon has gone back and is still working with Fox based on the history of what they have done to his as well as many other shows.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta make sure I don't get in trouble here. I'm not even sure what I'm able to talk about, so I'm gonna try to answer this as conservatively as I can. I think the situation is really you have the network always involved, and all this reshoot rumor. It's not so much a reshoot as I think Joss saw an opportunity because he got so many notes from the network to change things around, and maybe not so much reshoot, but he had the opportunity to like basically do another episode and change the order of things. Hence us shooting, shooting like 3 episodes right now. That's what we're kind of doing. And then you asked about the Fox. Why did he go back and work with them? Well, I mean, Joss hasn't really shared that with me. He has been on the internet. I'm sure you guys have heard. He's been asked that question a couple times. I know at Comic-Con and stuff. There's different people in power at Fox, and Joss is a brilliant man, very, very talented. Obviously, as you guys all know. So if he feels confident in like trying it out again with Fox, I'm sure there's a good reason. I think it's going to work. They're behind the show. They're excited. You know, we're pretty much going to shoot 13 episodes, so I think you guys can be confident. Just try and stay present. Don't get panicked about the show getting canceled yet. Let's get it on the air. You know, we're not even going to start till January, so wait till then and we'll go from there.